Ants. Tiny creatures that most of us see every single day, crawling along the ground, stealing crumbs from our food, or building little mounds in the dirt. They may look small and simple, but the truth is, ants are some of the most fascinating, powerful, and intelligent insects on Earth. In fact, scientists estimate that there are more than 20 quadrillion ants alive today. That's 2.5 million ants for every single human being. Together, their total weight is greater than the combined weight of all the humans on the planet. Just imagine that for a second. If you put all the people on Earth on one side of a giant scale and all the ants on the other side, the ants would actually win. But numbers are just the beginning. Ants are masters of teamwork, communication, survival, and even farming. They build underground cities, fight wars, farm other insects, and some species even grow their own food. So today we are going to explore the amazing and fascinating facts about ants. From their super strength, to their unique way of communicating, to the unbelievable survival tricks they use in nature. By the end of this video, you will never look at ants the same way again. Let's begin with their most famous ability, their incredible strength. When you think of strength in the animal kingdom, maybe you picture a lion, an elephant, or a gorilla. But in reality, one of the strongest creatures in the world is the tiny ant. Ants are able to lift objects 10 to 50 times their own body weight. To put that in perspective, imagine if you could walk into your backyard, grab a car, and carry it on your shoulders like it was nothing. That's the equivalent of what an ant does every single day. But how can they do this? The answer lies in their body structure. Unlike humans, ants are incredibly small, and physics works differently at that scale. Because their bodies are so tiny, their muscles are thicker in proportion to their size. This gives them an incredible strength-to-weight ratio. In simple terms, their muscles don't have to carry as much body mass, so they can use more power to lift things. Their exoskeleton, the hard outer shell that protects their body, also plays a role. It gives them both support and leverage, allowing them to carry heavy loads without collapsing. And ants don't just lift heavy objects for fun. They use this strength for survival. Workers carry food back to the nest, soldiers fight off intruders many times their size, and builders transport pieces of soil and leaves to create massive colonies. Some species are even more impressive. For example, the Asian weaver ant is known for being able to hold 100 times its body weight while hanging upside down. Imagine a human hanging from the ceiling while holding up 6 or 7 cars. Ants also work together to multiply their strength. If a single ant can't move something, dozens or even hundreds will gather around to lift and drag it back home. Their cooperation turns them into an unstoppable force. So the next time you see an ant carrying a giant piece of food that looks 10 times bigger than its body, remember, you're watching one of the strongest creatures on Earth in action. Now, strength is just one part of the story. Ants also survive and thrive because of their amazing ability to work together in colonies. And that's what we'll explore next. When you see a single ant crawling across your kitchen counter, it might not seem like a big deal. But what makes ants truly extraordinary is not just what they can do individually, it's what they can achieve together. Ants are masters of teamwork. They live in highly organized colonies, also called superorganisms, because each ant behaves like a single cell in a much larger body. A colony can have anywhere from a few dozen ants to millions of members, all working together in perfect harmony. Inside the colony, there are different roles, almost like jobs in a human city. At the very top is the queen ant. Contrary to what the name suggests, she doesn't actually rule the colony. Her main job is to lay eggs. In fact, some queens can lay thousands of eggs every single day, ensuring that the colony keeps growing and thriving. Then there are the workers. These are sterile female ants that take care of almost everything else, gathering food, feeding the queen and the larvae, cleaning the nest, and defending the colony. They are the real backbone of ant society. In some species, there are also soldier ants, larger, more powerful ants that specialize in defending the nest from invaders. Imagine a tiny army, always ready to fight off threats, from other insects to rival colonies. What's amazing is how ants coordinate with each other. There's no leader giving out instructions. Instead, they rely on simple rules and chemical signals to work as a unit. For example, when a worker ant finds food, it leaves a trail of pheromones, chemical scents, on the ground. Other ants follow this trail, reinforcing it as they walk, until soon there's a whole line of ants marching back and forth, carrying food to the nest. This simple system creates incredibly complex behavior. It's why ants can quickly find and strip down a piece of fruit left on the ground, or why you'll see neat little highways of ants moving in two directions without crashing into each other. Teamwork also extends to nest building. Ant colonies construct elaborate underground cities with multiple chambers, nurseries for the young, storage rooms for food, and even ventilation shafts to circulate air. Some nests can go several meters deep and house millions of ants. In the Amazon rainforest, scientists have uncovered ant colonies so massive that they looked like entire subway systems beneath the soil. Perhaps the most striking example of teamwork is seen in army ants. These ants don't build permanent nests at all. Instead, they create living structures using their own bodies. By linking together, they form bridges across gaps, ladders up trees, and even temporary shelters called bivouacs, where the queen and larvae are protected in the center. It's like a living, breathing city that can move overnight. Ant cooperation is not just fascinating, it's also effective. Ant colonies are some of the most successful societies in the animal kingdom. They've been around for over 100 million years, surviving mass extinctions that wiped out countless other species. And that's all thanks to one thing: teamwork. But how do they manage such precise coordination without speaking or seeing very well? The answer lies in their secret language: communication through chemicals and signals. Imagine living in a world without phones, without the internet, without even being able to talk or shout to one another, yet still being able to organize millions of individuals to work as one. That's exactly what ants do. Their secret? A remarkable system of communication. Ants don't rely much on sight or sound. Instead, they use chemicals called pheromones. These are invisible scents that ants release from their bodies. Each pheromone carries a message, like a word in their language. For example, when a worker ant discovers a source of food, she releases a pheromone trail on the ground as she heads back to the nest. Other ants detect this trail with their antennae, follow it, and reinforce it with their own pheromones. Soon, hundreds of ants are marching back and forth in perfect order, carrying the food home. The stronger the pheromone trail, the more ants join the highway. But pheromones aren't just about food. Different scents can signal danger, mark territory, or even identify members of the colony. If an intruder approaches, alarm pheromones can rally soldier ants within seconds, creating a sudden army ready to defend the nest. Amazingly, ants can even use their antennae like hands to talk to each other. By tapping and stroking, they exchange small signals about what needs to be done. It's almost like a secret handshake system. Some species have even more fascinating methods. Take the leafcutter ants. Not only do they cut and carry leaves many times their size, but they also use a combination of pheromones and vibrations to coordinate their farming work. If danger is near, vibrations through the ground can alert others instantly. And then there are slave-making ants, species that raid the colonies of other ants, steal their pupae, and raise them as workers in their own nest. How do they manage this? Through chemical trickery. They produce pheromones that confuse or disguise them, making the invaded colony think they belong. It's like ants wearing an invisibility cloak of scent. Perhaps the most mind-blowing example of ant communication is in army ants. Since they don't have permanent nests, coordination is everything. When they move, they create living rivers of ants, guided almost entirely by pheromone trails. If that trail is disrupted, chaos can happen, sometimes forming endless circles of ants chasing one another, known as a death spiral, until exhaustion takes over. A dramatic reminder of how much they rely on their chemical language. Scientists have even studied how ant communication compares to human networks. Believe it or not, the way ants share information is similar to how the internet routes data: fast, efficient, and decentralized. Each ant is like a tiny server, passing messages without a central command, but the system works flawlessly. So, while humans invented speech, writing, and digital technology, ants mastered chemical communication millions of years ago. And it works so well that their societies have thrived for over 100 million years. Next, let's look at another incredible aspect of their world: the way they build and design their ant cities and architecture. You'll be amazed at the engineering skills hidden beneath the soil. Ant colonies are not just holes in the ground. They are carefully planned underground cities, with different chambers for nurseries, food storage, and even ventilation shafts to circulate fresh air. Some colonies stretch meters deep and can house millions of ants, all living in a perfectly organized society. Leafcutter ants even take this one step further. They cut leaves not to eat them, but to grow fungus farms underground. Army ants build living bridges with their bodies, and fire ants form floating rafts to survive floods. When you think about it, ants are not only great survivors, but also some of the best architects and engineers in nature. And with that, we've reached the end of our journey into the fascinating world of ants. From their unbelievable strength to their teamwork, communication, survival strategies, and incredible construction skills, ants prove that size doesn't limit greatness. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? We often step over them without noticing, but ants are everywhere, quietly shaping the environment around us. They've been on Earth for over 100 million years, surviving disasters that wiped out giants like the dinosaurs. So, here's a fun thought. What if ants suddenly disappeared from Earth tomorrow? Would our soil lose its richness? Would ecosystems collapse? Or would we humans hardly notice? I'd love to hear what you think. Share your answers in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the secret life of ants, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating science stories. Stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the tiniest creatures hold the biggest secrets.